Good morning. Welcome back to the Morning Edition. I'm here with William Bernhardt and with Christine Nichols, and we're going to talk about a writing seminar that you are going to be conducting at the library coming very soon.
That's right.
Okay. Well, first, welcome. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your success. I'm looking forward to reading one of your books because frankly I haven't. So.
Well, what's the deal?
I don't know.
We got one right here.
But I'm going to read one.
Okay.
So your writing style is legal thriller.
I've done a bunch of those, yes.
So that's what you primarily do. Why don't you talk just a little bit first about your background and how you came to be a writer and what brought you to this point?
Well, I grew up here in Oklahoma, not far from here actually, in Midwest City, just outside Oklahoma City, and fell in love with books at an early age. Really, all I ever wanted to do was be a writer, but wanting and doing, there's a big gap, and trying to get information on how to go about it, how to actually first write a book and then get it published was pretty challenging. I did eventually break in, and my first book was published in 1991, and I've had 29 since that time.
Okay, and what led you off in the area of a legal thriller? Do you have a legal background?
I do. I was practicing. I was in Tulsa actually in a big law firm as a trial lawyer, and I suppose it just seemed like people always say write what you know, and there were really only a handful of things I knew anything about, but that was one of them. So I started writing courtroom books, and that's I wrote several things, but that was the one that took off. So you dance with the girl that brought you.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. Well, Christine, how did you and William get connected? Because I know that you've had exposure to him in the past, and you were excited about bringing him to town to do these workshops.
Yes, I am a writer myself, and I'm just beginning to learn the industry. And I was lucky enough to attend a couple of his workshops, one in Tulsa and one in Oklahoma City, and they were so exciting. He's a great instructor, very dynamic, and he has so much information to share. I benefited so much from it. And I work for OSU Arts and Sciences Outreach, and we're always looking for opportunities to bridge with the communities, more way to engage locally. And I went to Linda Reynolds at the Stillwater Public Library and asked her if she'd like to co-sponsor this program, and they were very excited about having an opportunity to bring in a New York Times best-selling author to teach a class right here in Stillwater. So we're very excited about this opportunity, and I'm so pleased to be associated with it.
Well, excellent. There are going to be 6 workshops.
Right.
Conducted over the course of 6 months.
Right. Saturdays. So. Anybody could attend, really. Ought to be able to, any aspiring writer. It's extremely affordable, and it's scheduled on Saturdays, so I think it's a great idea for a program, which Christine primarily came up with, but I've never done anything quite like this. I think it's really exciting.
Okay. So what are some of the things someone could expect to learn when they come to your workshop?
Well, we're pretty much going through all the mechanics of writing a novel through all these Saturdays. We're starting with premise, because that's where you've got to start with your idea. And the idea there is to try and get people started off with a good, workable idea, rather than spending a year or two beating their heads against something that's just never going to work. So we talk about premise, and then we go through structure, planning the book, outlining it. We talk about character, of course, and plot. And even some marketing. I mean, how do you get your book published, and then what do you do now in the internet age when all the publicity seems to be moving towards the digital world? And so really from soup to nuts, from beginning to end, we're covering all the elements of writing a novel.
One of the things I find really intriguing about the whole process here is at the end, there's a grand prize for somebody who attends all 6 sessions.
Right, the contest. Why don't you talk about that, Christine?
One of our sponsors is New Forums Press, which is primarily an academic press that's based right here in Stillwater. And I contacted them and asked them if they'd be interested in being affiliated with our program. And the director told me that they are starting a new fiction imprint, and they were very pleased to join with us and offer one of the participants. We're going to have a contest, and the panel is going to judge a book. And then New Forums is going to publish the book. It's very important for a new writer to be able to say that they've been previously published by a respected publisher, and that's exactly what New Forums Press is, and it's just a wonderful opportunity for Stillwater residents or anyone within driving distance that could come to the Saturday workshops.
So you are going to come and learn from an accomplished novelist. You're going to be mentored by that accomplished novelist. You are going to have an opportunity to be published with your first book. This is terrific.
Thank you.
And so what is the cost of participation?
It's $89 per session, right?
And there are 6 sessions over the course of 6 months.
Right. Well, and I'm hoping people will come to all. They don't have to, obviously, but what I'm really looking forward to is, you know, starting working with people and pretty much taking the book all the way from beginning to end. I'm encouraging people to send me their manuscripts before each Saturday so that I can read them in advance and kind of do some editing and have some idea what we're talking about, and then over the course of several months really working all the way through the book.
Excellent. That's exciting. Let's take a break. We come back, we'll talk more about the workshop and what we can expect. So we're right back after this word from some of our sponsors. All right, we're back with William Bernhardt and with Christine Nichols. During the break, we were talking about how somebody gets signed up. Because if you don't want to just show up, you need to sign up because there's some advanced things you need to prepare for. So how do you sign up, Christine?
Participants can go to justfiction.okstate.edu, and there's a link they can click which says register here, a big orange button. Push that button and it'll take them through an online registration process. They can also download a copy of the brochure that you have and fill it out and send it in. If they fill it out and send it in, it needs to be postmarked 2 weeks before the class starts. We have enough time to get their information and correspond with them a little bit because there are a couple of things we'd like them to do before class. And also we're ordering textbooks. We have Donald Maz writing the breakout novel, which is one of Mr. Bernhardt's favorites to use for instruction. And then also we're going to be using Dark Eye as a reference. And some of the students might find it helpful to read the novel in advance, but it's not a requirement for the class. We're going to refer to different things during the class and show the examples in the novel, which I think is a really great way to learn.
Okay, and the first class is April 6th.
Yes, it is.
So there's plenty of time to do what needs to be done to get registered and start doing your preparations.
Yes.
Okay, now, in terms of preparing, what should they be thinking about so they're ready for the class? And either of you can answer that question.
Well, they don't necessarily need to have written a book. If they have, or at least written a draft, that's terrific. But if not, you know, over the course of 6 months, you could very well write one, or at least write a good first draft of one. So either way works. What I would encourage people to do is to at least brainstorm and think about what you might want to write about. And then when we're having the session on premise, we can flesh that out and develop it and try and make it into an even better idea. And then when we're talking about structure, we can outline it and block out the whole book, and then character plot and take it through all the other steps. And you know, this is a very hands-on class. I plan to read people's manuscripts and edit them and give them direct one-on-one feedback.
That's invaluable. I mean, the price of this for the service they're going to get is just amazing to me. Now, before the show, I asked you a question, and I loved your answer. What is the most common mistake that brand new writers make?
Oh, I think I said the most common mistake was starting out with a not very good idea, and then even if you're a wonderfully talented writer, it doesn't matter if the idea is a non-starter, then the book's never going to go anywhere, which is why we start on this April session with premise, developing an idea that's perhaps not just of interest to you, but will be of interest to others as well, because you want readers, right? So let's come up with something that will appeal to readers as well.
Very good. Now, we talked during the break about a couple things we were going to talk about, and I blanked out on them. So help me out. What were we going to cover next?
We talk about the sponsors.
Sponsors, that's what it was.
We're very blessed to have the Stillwater News Press, KOSU, Stillwater Radio, and New Forums Press, and the Stillwater Public Library as co-sponsors for this program. We were also going to talk a little bit about some of the definitions for the 6 classes that we have in the brochure.
Would you like to?
Sure. Or would you prefer to read? You have such a great voice. I just love your voice. You're reading
a synopsis of the 6 classes.
The synopsis of premise.
Really? Oh, well, April 6th, premise. Getting started right, tweaking your idea for maximum success, premises that appeal to agents and editors, writing the perfect first sentence, which can be really important, paragraph, page, and chapter to grab the reader from the outset, contemplating your audience.
It was a dark and stormy night.
Well, yeah, it would be an example of what not to do, right? What people sometimes don't realize is that when they go through the process of trying to get published, when you're trying to get an agent, and then your agent's trying to get an editor and publishing house behind you, typically your average agent is not going to have time to read a 500-page manuscript. They're going to read that first sentence and paragraph and page, and probably in a couple paragraphs they're going to make a decision whether they think this book has any potential or not. And that's why we focus so much on the opening and getting it right.
That makes a lot of
from the
sense.
start.
No, I've read a lot of resumes in my day, and I don't get past the first paragraph a lot of times.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, that makes sense. So we start with premise, and then we go on to structure, which probably sounds the least glamorous of all of them, but it may well be the most important because you can do so much good for your book if you just give it a little bit of forethought and planning, outlining perhaps even, plan out the major events and signposts in the book, and then develop your characters and plot. And we also talk somewhat about marketing, about how to get published, how to get an agent, how to get out there. The publishing world has changed dramatically in the last few years, what with the consolidation of publishing houses and the advent of electronic or digital books. Everything's changing, and so we're trying to give people some real-world publishing knowledge as well.
very good. All right, hey, give us the website one more time.
justfiction.okstate.edu.
All right, very good. Thank you both for being here. It's been a
Thank
pleasure
you.
meeting you. Welcome to Stillwater.
Thanks. Enjoyed it.
We'll be right back after this word for some of our sponsors. We'll look at the extended forecast and take us into the weekend.